5,500 years ago, the Sumerian people of Mesopotamia developed the first system of writing, now called cuneiform. A reed was used to inscribe soft, damp clay tablets with various types of symbols. These inscriptions communicated the language of the day. They are the earliest human voices we hear. They connect us to a time and people that we could otherwise only imagine. These clay tablets give us a clear picture of society and culture at the beginning of civilization, as well as the character of the people, their beliefs and values. And now, Grant Peeples with clay tablets.
Cancel culture. If the canceled culture in question is white nationalism, or some other mutant variant of American racism, misogyny, bigotry, or anti-intellectualism, for the sake of this still fledgling republic, may we not, with some inane and unarmed motion, as if to wave a wand or push a button, merely cancel our intent to cancel it, but rather fix the nation's knee upon said culture's neck, and with every pound of courage press to see the relic twitch and gasp, and expel its last grotesque and ghastly breath.
When they shot him in his tracks, about the only thing agreed upon is he ain't coming back. There won't be any trial, so the air it won't be cleared. There's just two sides calling names, out of anger, out of fear. If you say it wasn't racial when they shot him in his tracks, well, I guess that means that you ain't black. It means that you ain't black. I mean, Barack Obama won, and you can choose where to eat, but you don't see too many white kids lying bleeding on the street. In some town in Missouri, but it could be anywhere. It could be right here on Ruth Street. In fact, it's happened here. And it happened where you're sitting, wherever that might be. And it happened last weekend, and it'll happen again next week. And when they turned him over, they were surprised there was no gun. I mean, he must have done something, or else why would he have run? And they'll spin it for the anchors on the television screen, so we can shrug and let it happen without asking what it means, what it means, what it means, what it means. Well, I guess there was protesting, some looting in some stores, and someone was reminded they ain't called colored folks no more. I mean, we try to be politically correct when we call names, but what's the point of post-racial when all prejudice remains? And that guy who killed that kid down in Florida standing ground is free to beat up on his girlfriend and wave his brand new gun around, while some kid is dead and buried and laying in the ground with a pocket full of Skittles. What it means, what it means, what it means. Ask Astrophysics at our fingertips, and we're standing at the summit. And some man with a joystick lands a rocket on a comet. We're living in an age where limitations are forgotten. The outer edges move and dazzle us, but the core is something rotten. And we're standing on the precipice of prejudice and fear. We trust science just as long as it tells us what we want to hear. We want our truths all fair and balanced, long as our notions lie within it. There's no sunlight in our asses, and our heads are stuck up in it. And our heroes may be rapists who watch us while we dream. But don't look to me for answers, 'cause I don't know what it means, what it means. What it means, what it means. What it means, what it means. What it means, what it means.
I was stumbling around about 2 weeks ago with a poem, and it really wasn't happening. So what I did is I took the words and made images out of them, and I sent them to my friend Matthew McCarran, who is an artist here in Tallahassee. And this is what I sent him. These are all flags. And when I sent it to him, I asked him a question. What do all of these flags have in common? And he worked up a few things and sent these back to me. These are all flags that had attacked the American flag. He kept working on it, doing what I guess artists call sketches. And that's my favorite. That's what he ended up with. Matthew McCarran. These mist-covered mountains, they're all now I see. But my home's there in the lowlands, and it always will be. Someday will you return to your valleys and your farms, and you'll no longer burn to be brothers in arms. Through these fields of destruction, baptisms of fire, well, I witnessed your suffering as the battles they reached high. And though it hurt me so bad, with all the fear and alarm, well, you did not desert me, my brothers in arms. There's so many different worlds so many different suns. And we have just but one world, but we live in different ones. Well, the sun is gone to hell, and the moon it's riding high. I'm gonna wish you farewell, my friends. See, every man he has to die, but it's written in the starlight, in every line there in your poem, that we should not make war on our brothers in arms. Hey, Pete, can we see if we can get Donna on the phone? Check in with Donna. Donna, are you there tonight?
I am here.
Oh, good.
Paying attention.
Oh, really?
Thinking of all our friends. I'm reading the feed. We have people from Texas who have tuned in with us tonight. And Kansas. Somehow they've dug up out of the snow.
You know, it was, I can't tell you how terrible I felt today. You know, we do this marketing stuff and we send out all of these blasts and I, you know, like this afternoon I was getting these texts back from people that were going like, I'm going to try to listen, you know, my house, all my pipes are frozen and we're staying in the car with the engine running, and so long as and I just want to apologize to all the people out there who are going through this. It is horrible, and really apologize for pounding on them. But is everything okay in the thread? Nobody's okay.
Everybody's happy. Many people are saying, "No, don't let it be the last show."
Well, we'll get to that here in a little while. But we need to mention a couple things. One is that was Maddy Walsh at the top of the show there, and Maddy Walsh and Suave, and they were playing a song by Jason Isbell. And they were in town last week, and we got him here, got to record that. And that was a song that I just did, was a song by Dire Straits, which I heard in the early 1980s, and I've been trying to learn that song ever since, and finally got kind of close on it. And
what's the name of that song?
The name of that song is Brothers in Arms, and it was on one of the Dire Straits' first records, and it just knocked me out. And that was Holly Riley, Dr. Holly Riley, who slipped in here and played the violin behind me.
The mysterious woman with the violin.
Yeah. So, and then Maddy Walsh, we're going to have some more of Maddy before this show is over. And and so, well, I think we can move on now. I always like to follow up checking in with Donna, who is a official librarian. We follow that with our little segment on vocabulary.
Vocabulary, vocabulary, say that loud, loud. Vocabulary, vocabulary, that's what it's about. Vocabulary, vocabulary, that's what it's about.
So the way these words work is that I pull them. These are words that I've kind of run into since we last had a show. And a lot of times they're words I have stumbled on, such as this first word that we have up here right now. This is a word, pereal, which if somebody had asked me last week, what is the definition? I said, I would have thought it meant sweet. Now, why I thought it meant sweet, I don't know. But it means childishly, silly, and trivial. Now, my friend Bill, who is a mullet fisherman, he's the guy that I mullet fish with during the mullet run. He's really good with words and language, and I asked him to give me some examples of the words that I've kind of stumbled across. And here's the one he has for puerile. The puerile tantrums of the former occupant of the White House might not have been so horrifying if only he had resided at an address other than 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That is puerile. Okay, now we got another word here. And this is what they call a $50 word. And I think usually when you run into those $50 words, they have some meaning that's kind of esoteric. And to me, this is a really important word. It just happens to be a little too long. And it is agathococological. Now, Bill didn't think I was going to be able to pronounce that, and I just wanted him to be very impressed that I have. And it means to be composed of both good and evil. And I mean, that seems like just a word that could be ascribed to all of us, agathococological. Get that, Bill, how I did that? And here is the usage that he gave for me for that. The very existence of Mitch McConnell gives lie to the agathococological notion Robert Louis Stevenson posits in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, namely that within us all lies both good and evil. Now, I got one other word. You can come on, Pete. You can put that on up here. You can put it up here. This is the final word. Now, I've got a little bit of a story. This is interposition. And it's the action of a state whereby its sovereignty is placed between its citizens and the federal government. Now, I came across this word in a very weird way. Let me see if I can kind of get it all together. I was trying to get in touch with a guy by the name of Frank Wozniak. And Frank Wozniak was my history professor at Appalachian State University. He taught me History 101, my first semester there. And the first day we walked into class, we went in and sat down. He says, your first assignment is, by next Wednesday, you should write a 500-word essay on things that happened in your home state and in your country and in the world on the day that you were born, which seemed like the weirdest assignment in the world. But you know, I understand now that what Frank was trying to do is give us all the context in which we fit into the history that we were beginning to study. And only thing I remembered at that time was, I remember from that thing, was that Sputnik had been shot off on the day that I was born, or had circled around, something to do with Sputnik. And so I was trying to find Frank Wozniak. And in the process of doing it, I remembered this assignment that he did. And I happened to be working on some other stuff, so I put in Florida, May 2nd, 1957. And what came up was a statement by Governor Leroy Collins that he had made on the day of my birth. And Governor Collins was the governor of Florida at the time. Now, at this time in Florida, as in all across the South, the Brown versus Board of Education decision made by the Supreme Court in 1954 was just really turning things upside down. And various southern states had decided that they were going to do this thing called interposition. Pete, can you put that word up again? Can you get back and put it back up? Is there any way you can do that? Look at that. The action of a state whereby its sovereignty is placed between its citizens and the federal government. Well, this is just kind of a legislative way of telling the Supreme Court to go screw itself. And it goes kind of back to states' rights. And so our governor in Florida said this on the day I was born. But if this resolution of interposition declaring the decision of the Supreme Court to be null and void is to be taken seriously, it is anarchy and rebellion against the nation which must remain indivisible under God if it is to survive. Not only will I not condone interposition, as so many have sought me to do, I decry it as an evil thing, whipped up by demagogues and carried on the hot and erratic winds of passion, prejudice, and hysteria. If history judges me this day, I want it known that I did my best to avert this blot. If I am judged wrong, then here in my own handwriting and over my signature is the proof of guilt to support my conviction. Leroy Collins, Governor, May 2nd, 1957. That's all. I just wanted to tell you about that. Thank you, Pete. That's the end of our vocabulary segment.
Vocabulary, vocabulary, say that loud, loud. Vocabulary, vocabulary, that's what it's about. Vocabulary, vocabulary, that's what it's about.
At that time, when Governor Collins had written that, I was born in Gainesville, Florida, and my father was in law school there, and he had recently worked on the campaign for Governor Collins to be elected as governor. He was elected in 1956, and so it's a very interesting man, Governor Collins. He was different than any other of the governors in the South. If you get a chance, spend a little time figuring out what kind of man he was. I'm going to read a poem by the Canadian poet Robert Priest. He wrote it, I think it was just last week. And I found the poem on the Facebook, and I asked him if I could read it. We've read some of Robert's stuff here before. He is a fantastic poet and a songwriter. And I'm going to read this now. Peacenik. Is it non-violence if all day my mind is full of fists? If all night I see you swing from the gallows pole? Is it non-violence if I can't stop imagining exit wound explosions from the various areas of your skull? Or if I long to do the dance of kicking in your throat, of scooping out your eyeballs from their orbits? I sit very still and grasp at happy thoughts, but like razor blades, they slip my grip. I breathe in peace, I breathe out hate, I breathe out holy murder, I breathe out the flaying knife. I breathe out slow time that kills but never quite kills. All day I stride the floor like a caged panther. I'm a flip book of homicides, a carousel of torments, while my green smile peels back a fingernail with every flicker of my furtive eyes. So when I read that poem, I thought, damn, I could have written that poem. And we're going to play a song now that I really think that Robert Priest could have written, but I wrote it. And this is Eric Schwartz playing it. What?
Would a little love and understanding be asking too much? To want to feel that real connection, to be in need of that human touch. Though the sky is all chock full of stars, there's still those stormy nights when some love and understanding would sure be nice. Seeing life through the eyes of another man, it's a function of the human heart. We only get a grip when we lend a hand. So man, we've been drifting apart. How we went so wrong while hanging on, and lost our way in flight. We need love and understanding to get things right. There's deep hatred and hard feelings, division and bitterness. It was a promising beginning. Somehow it's come to this. I guess we tripped and stumbled in the dark, and somehow got off track. It'll take love and understanding to bring us back. It'll take love and understanding to bring us back.
Thank you, Eric Schwartz, for that. I'd been messing with that song. Y'all might remember it. I played it a few episodes ago. And I got in the studio and messed around with it. I didn't really feel I was connecting to it. And I sent that to Eric and asked him if he wouldn't mind giving a go at it. And thank you so much. And yeah, and I wanted to kind of play that song, kind of juxtaposed to Robert Priest's poem, which two very different sentiments. And yet I'm not sure which one's right. So we're going to do, as you know, we've always done an interview here on the show. And I decided, well, I got a call from Roland Stone, and he asked me if he could do an interview. And I said, well, sure, you can do one. Why don't you just interview me on my show? So he's going to give us a call here in a minute. I think that's what's going to happen. And I'm actually going to get interviewed by somebody else, as opposed to me interviewing somebody while we're here. Here it is right here. Hang on a second. Roland, this is Grant. Is that you?
Yes, it is.
How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine and glad to be here this evening.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you giving me a call, and I appreciate this.
Well, let's just jump right into it, okay?
That'll be good.
Okay. This clay tablets thing.
Yeah.
You built a really nice audience, especially considering pre-pandemic you were driving around the country for years, driving a beat-up little car.
Yeah.
You were sleeping on couches and playing to tens and tens of people.
Yeah.
And that you have hundreds of people buying tickets to these clay tablet shows, and you don't even have to leave town. But you're quitting. What's up with that?
Well, I don't really consider that I'm quitting. I feel like, all these things that I've tried to do as far as all the artistic things they're all kind of connected at the solar plexus. So I don't really consider that I'm quitting this. But I've done here kind of what I wanted to do with it as the concept of it and the challenge of it as an art form. I feel like I've kind of done it. And I just have these other projects that I'm working on and that I want to finish. And there's just not enough room in my head to do it all. And though it's tempting to stick with this and to try to keep making it better and all that, I kind of know in my bones I need to move on, if that makes sense to you.
Well, there's still a pandemic going on.
Yeah.
There's basically no music, no live music anywhere. So tell me about these projects. What's on the big wheel for you now?
Well, I mean, I have a few things I want to do this year. Before I want to round up these songs that we've been playing on clay tablets, and if I can get back in the studio, I I want to get back in there. I want to make a record, and I want to round up the poems that I've written. I've written over 150 poems since the last poetry book I had, and I want to publish another book of poetry. But the main thing I'm working on right now is I'm working on, at the same time, 2 plays and a book, which are these long form projects, which is difficult for me and that take a lot of focus. And so
A play? A play?
Yeah, a play.
Wow, that's interesting. Do you have a background in theater?
No, I don't have any. I have 0 experience in theater. I was in 2nd grade. I was in a play, and that's the only time I've ever been in a play.
Well, that would be good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't have any experience doing television before I did this. I just kind of had to learn, and I think I'm a little bit empowered. Ruthie and I watched at the end of last year. We watched a documentary on Frank Zappa, and I learned that Zappa wanted to be a composer, and he just went to the library and started studying up on it. And he became an extraordinary composer. And what I've been doing is I've been reading plays. I've been watching plays on YouTube. I've been reading books about plays. I'm actually auditing a course in Shakespeare right now. And, the poems and the songs are these short forms of expression, and I've kind of figured out how to do that, and I'm comfortable doing it. It's kind of, you get this immediate gratification out of doing one of those things. But they're kind of like sprints, and it's different. It's a different discipline for me, and compared to the long forms of writing books, which are more like marathons. And
marathon? Didn't you just run a marathon?
Yeah, I did, and I think that me doing that was, I think it now. I wasn't really thinking it then, but I think me doing that was me trying to prepare myself in kind of in a kind of metaphorical way, maybe, or as an allegory to demonstrate to myself that I can gin up the discipline and the focus and the endurance and the staying power for something longer, like a book or play, maybe.
Can you tell me what the play's about?
No. I can't really talk about stuff like that. If I'm even a little queasy just now telling you and other people that I'm actually working on that because, and I've had this happen before, even with songs and stuff. I'll have this song idea, and I'll share the song idea, and then all of a sudden, and I do it, and I lose it. I lose the juice. I lose it. So there's a risk for me in talking about that kind of thing, so I don't really feel comfortable doing that.
All right, then. I get it. So, well, I have just one more question. It's 12 episodes a year later. When you look back on the Clay Tablets season, what is your sense of accomplishment? What were you able to do? What were you able to achieve? And also, is there anything you missed? Is there anything that you would have done differently?
Well, I mean, the cool thing about doing a series like this is that it's evolving. And as you move forward, you try new stuff and you add new stuff. And if it works, you can stay with it. And if it doesn't work, you can dump it off. And so you try to stay in this kind of aggressive evolve mode. So there really aren't any particular things I would do differently other than just continue to try to hone that, whatever that, that aggressive evolve dialed up high thing is, and being able to constantly revise what's going on. When we started this, we were doing it a lot differently than we're doing it now. And so that's really cool. But I think the important thing that has been lost somehow is that as far as an accomplishment, the important thing is that I've been able to stay engaged with my people, who have supported this little crazy career that I started at age 50. And I had met these people just, as you said, playing for tens and tens of people as I drove around in this little car, and I kind of collected them over about 12 or 13 years, and I've been able to stay in touch with them. So that's the biggest, most important thing, and I've been able to maintain that energy that flows between an artist and and an audience. And I don't know if that answers your question, but how's that?
Well, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that moving forward you will be very successful, and I wish you great luck. And I've enjoyed all these shows up to this point.
Well, I really appreciate the call, and I really appreciate that, Roland. It was really good talking to you again. And please say hello to everybody in Mongolia for me. I know that's where you're hanging out these days, and I know it's the time zone thing was tough, and I really appreciate the call.
Well, I really appreciate you having me call. So good luck and have fun.
All right. Thanks, Roland. That's Roland Stone. He's kind of a crazy guy. As y'all know, we have a resident cartoonist here at Clay Tablets, and I think, and I'm not blowing smoke here. I think he's absolutely the best working political cartoonist in America today, and and not only do I admire his work. One of the things I really admire is like my admiration for the other artists who are in my life and that I stay really close with, Jimmy Roche and Dean Joya and Matthew McCarran and Robert Priest and Chelsea Labatt, and these are poets and artists, is that Zeke is grinding it out every day. And he doesn't live on inspiration. He lives on just grinding it out. He gets up at about 5 o'clock every morning, makes a pot of coffee, and he goes to work. Making these little cartoons that and that have kind of come to him over the night. And by 8 o'clock in the morning, my phone is dinged, and I have his cartoons here on my phone, and he's off to work as a carpenter and a cabinet maker. And I just really admire his work ethic so much, and I really like his work. And if we're going to play a little loop, we used to show them up, but now we're looping them. Donna has made this really cool loop, and we're going to play it for you right now of his cartoons that have come up recently. That's Zeke of Augustine. You can find him also on Instagram, and he works under the handle of Ping Pong Lessons. And also, if you just would like to do like me and have it just wake up and have it on your phone, you can send me an email, and I will hook you up with Zeke, and he can get your phone number, and he can put you. I know Gurf gets them in the morning. Ruthie gets them. A lot of us actually just get them on our phone in the morning. You can do that. We're going to go into a little thing here. I want to talk about I want to talk about what this month is and what it's supposed to be and what we're supposed to be commemorating. And I want to do it by, if you were to have, there's this kind of trivia question that gets asked. I don't really ever think it's on a trivia board, but it's something that it's kind of a test question. And it would be, the test question is, what ended slavery in the United States? And a lot of people, one of the answers is, well, the Civil War ended slavery in the United States. And it didn't. And it's kind of a loaded question, by the way. And another answer is, the Emancipation Proclamation ended slavery in the United States. And that's not true either. What purportedly ended slavery in the United States was the 13th Amendment, which was passed some 6 months after the end of the Civil War and ratified over a year. Wasn't ratified till after a year of the ending of the Civil War. And the 13th Amendment is short and bitter, and it reads like this: neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall be duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Leave that up there for just a second if you don't mind, Pete. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Now, what this meant was, of course, slavery hadn't ended. I likened it to somebody saying, I quit drinking, except for beer and wine and on weekends and during football games. Slavery was just re-sanctioned. And from the 13th Amendment, for me, it's kind of like dry powder for an authoritarian government, because it's an absolute, from it, you can absolutely deduct in a very logical and reasonable way that if you're jaywalking and you get arrested for jaywalking and you're convicted of it, then you are a criminal, and then therefore you're subject to being put into slavery. And that sounds ridiculous, but that is exactly what happened after the 13th Amendment. That is exactly what happened after the wheels fell off of Reconstruction, and we got into that period known as Jim Crow. And it lasted right on up. You went right to the chain gang is where you went from that. And that became the operating system for us as a country. And it still exists today. The results of that are still with us today as far as our justice systems goes and as far as our penal system is concerned. And I could go into length about that, but there is a movie which I really suggest everybody watch before the end of the month, and it's called The 13th. And you can see it on YouTube for free, or you can get it on Netflix. And it is a movie about the 13th Amendment. And I hope you would all watch that. I'm going to read something here. I was on my way to Richmond, Virginia about 2 years ago. And the phone rang, and it was my dad. And he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm up in Richmond, Virginia." And he said, "Whereabouts?" And I said, "Well, just saw a sign that said Brunswick County." And he said, "You're kidding." I said, "No." And he said, "Well, that's where our family's from." And to make this long story short, I had time, and I pulled off Interstate, I believe it was 85 or 81, and went to Lawrenceville, Virginia, which is the county seat for Brunswick County. And I went in there, and within about 1 hour, I had come out with a stack of papers about my family. And one of them was a will from my great-great-great-great-grandfather, great-great-great-great-grandfather. And it was written in 1785, and I'm going to read it to you. His name was Joseph Peeples, by the way, with a B. And that's another story. I'm Grant Peeples with a P, but I'm actually a Peebles, but there was some little dust up back then, probably over, slaves or something. And somebody in my family changed the name to Peeples, but my ancestors are Peeples. In the name of God, amen. I, Joseph Peeples, of the county of Brunswick and the parish of St. Andrew, being in perfect health and of sound memory, yet calling to mind the mortality of my body, and that it is appointed for all men once to die. And my body, here make this my last will and testament. My soul I give to God who gave it to me, and my body I recommend to the earth from whence it was taken, to be buried in a Christian manner, hoping that I shall again rise in the resurrection on the last day and receive free pardon and forgiveness of all my sins through the merits of Jesus Christ my Savior. And as to worldly goods God hath so graciously lent to me, I do give and bequeath in the manner and form following. I give and bequeath to my wife, Mary Peeples, for her natural life, 5 Negroes, to wit, Ben, Jerry, Liddy, Dinah, and hubby. The use of the plantation where I now live, 2 feather beds and furniture, half the pewter pots, chairs, and tables, 2 horses, 15 head of hog, 10 head of cattle, and 10 head of sheep. That was for his wife. I give to and bequeath to my son Sterling Peeples, when married or arrived at the age of 21 years, 6 Negroes, to wit, Sam, James, Peter, Kate, Nancy, and moreover, 2 tracts of land, the one in Northampton containing 240 acres, the other in Halifax containing 100 acres or more. And I give and bequeath to my son Dudley Peeples. Now this is my great-great-great-great-grandfather. I bequeath to Dudley Peeples, when married or arrived at the age of 21 years, 6 Negroes, Cordy, Jerry, Till, Jane, Charity, Silby, and Jack. 1 tract of land in Roanoke in Halifax County, and 100 acres more or less purchased by William somebody, and I'm unable to read that. So the thing that really jumps out at me here, and I think it's the thing that really jumps out, is in this list of possessions that he is bequeathing, the first thing he talks about is the most valuable thing he has. And those are the people he owns. And, you know, it's funny, like, the first thing he mentions that before the mules and the horses and even hundreds of acres of land. So obviously that is more valuable to him than even the land. And that's because labor, not land, is what creates wealth. And you don't even have to be a Marxist to understand that. You just need to be an honest human being. So that's on my father's side. My great-grandfather, James Francis Cochran, was a turpentiner. This is on my mother's side. And you might be familiar with Carabel, Florida, Alligator Point, St. Teresa Beach. All of those places are on St. James Island, where my great-grandfather, in the early part of the last century, owned 17,000 acres of land that he turpentined. It was a huge operation. I've seen the pictures of the turpentine still. He had hundreds of people that lived there on the island and that worked in this turpentine industry. And while he was there, he lived down there, and he ran that place he was the guy in charge. And a few years ago, my great-grandfather, his grandson, who is my mother's first cousin and my first cousin once removed, or second cousin, wrote a history, his memories of St. Teresa Beach, which is right there in the middle of St. James Island. And he talked about when he was growing up there. And he talked about the stories that he had heard about our great-grandfather, who was called Gabriel, even though his name was James Francis Cochran. They called him Gabriel because when he hunted, he had this horn that he would blow and call his deer dogs. And apparently he was really able to train his deer dogs when he blew this horn. So they called him Gabriel. And so my cousin Frank wrote this about my great-grandfather. Gabriel loved to fish, and he had the reputation of an expert with the fly rod. He spent as much time as he could on the ponds, rivers, and creeks of the island. When he was able to get away with it, there was some serious fishing. There was a creek off of the Ochlockonee River called Cow Creek. Legend says it used to be called Nigger Creek. The story goes that Gabriel was fishing there one day with a black man poling his boat. Gabriel is said to have warned the man several times about how he was handling the boat poorly. And when he didn't improve, Gabriel took out a gun and shot him. It seems far-fetched at best, Frank wrote. But this story is not out of the realm of possibility, given the absolute power Gabriel exercised over the island's population. There's a really fine performer here in Tallahassee, an artist, and he's a poet and a musician and performer. His name is Bryce Lovett, and this is a poem he wrote.
I don't know justice, and I haven't met peace. I mean, I was told that I met her. I was told that she's been around here, but I think they must be confused. Maybe they're confused with silence. In fact, I asked silence, and she said, nah, young man, peace don't live around here. She said she don't even look like that queen. She sings, carries a big sword, and her smile is clean. Her hair is natural, and her rings like bells. And on heels, she sits a little taller than justice. I don't know justice, and I haven't met peace.
No justice, no peace.
And justice. She said just his arms are long and his embrace is strong, and you can hear every step he takes. No, not every step he asks for, every step he takes. No, not every step that is given, every step he takes. She said, Royce, go back and tell them they got me wrong. I am silent. And my cousins are dumb, hush, mute, shut up, settle, sit still. Royce, you know them. I don't know justice. I haven't met peace.
No justice, no peace.
I've been waiting for them to pull up in one accord, but I can't wait much longer. These arms ain't much stronger, but they strong though. Shoot, I'll pat myself on the back. Look in the mirror, don't know how to act. I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. Black. What does that mean anyway? A word full of culture but void of identity. That's why I gotta love my enemy. Now don't get me wrong, I haven't always walked around proud, but even when I didn't, I put my fist up and I said it loud. I'm black. I don't know justice, and I haven't met peace.
No justice, no peace.
And I can't help but wonder how it feels if I could say it with peace and justice whipping in that one accord. I want to know him. I want to see him. I want to talk to him. I want to kick it with the same folks that they roll with, like freedom and liberty and opportunity. I want to breathe. Not inhale, but inhale. Exhale. Now you said it, and I'm flattered. You even used the hashtag Black Lives Matter. But when Yeshua left the many for the one, I knew my black life mattered before the hashtag was relevant. My skin is heaven sent. But I don't know justice, and I haven't met peace. I wish I could walk away from this microphone telling you that I met him, but I can't. I believe in a redeemer. I believe in a God of creation. And I can't, because I don't know justice, And I haven't met peace. But I tell you this, I'ma keep looking. I'ma keep pushing, I'ma keep shaking, I'ma keep talking, I'ma keep yelling, I'ma keep learning, I'ma keep voting, I'ma keep engaging, and I'ma keep growing. Because I'm gonna meet him. And when I meet him, I'ma take him to my school. I'ma bring him to my home, I'ma bring him to my job, I'ma bring him to my hood, I'ma bring him to my friends, I'ma bring him to my father, I'ma bring him to my mother, I'ma bring him to my sister, I'ma bring him to my brother, I'm gonna bring him to the jail. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Because I don't know justice. And I haven't met peace. We ain't got to die no more. Love is what we're fighting for. I know that I'm worth more than a t-shirt. We ain't got to die no more. Love is what we're fighting for. I know that I'm worth more than a t-shirt. T-shirt.
That's Royce Lovett. I Don't Know Justice. You can find that video on YouTube. Royce Lovett, I Don't Know Justice. You might be familiar with Royce. He was a contestant or a participant last year on The Voice. He is a real asset to us here in Tallahassee. I got a lot of paper around here, and I got off my track a little bit where we're circling back. We're going to try to pick up where we were supposed to be here a minute ago, and we're going to do the COVID numbers. Now, this number right here, 409,085, that's how many people had died in the United States when we had our last show, which was on January, I believe it was 19th. And I like to always say, remind that what Aaron Brown had said, don't think of it as 409,000 deaths, but think of it as a human being having died 409,000 times. And since that day, this is the new number. This was as of this afternoon that I got from a COVID dashboard. I don't remember the name of it, 498,594. And when you do the math, you get, that is how many people have died since we last convened here. 89,509 souls in the United States. I also want to add that one of those was our friend and colleague, Ann Feeney, who died at the age of 69 2 weeks ago from COVID. So I am not known as being a co-writer. I have friends who seriously try to avoid me when it comes to the idea of co-writing a song. But last week I was working on this song, and I kind of hit a wall with it. And I had been talking to my friend Cody Williford, who is a singer and a songwriter here in town, and we've been talking about just some stuff, and I thought, well, maybe Cody would be the person to help me finish this song. So for the first time ever, I actually got on the computer, and we did this thing called Team Viewer, where he could look at the computer screen, and he could hear, we had the phone, and I would play the guitar, and we wrote this song in one day. And this is called January 6, 2021. Let us all remember the day in 21, the 6th of January, when the deadly deed was done. Oh, they charged right up the hallowed steps and busted down the doors. They were shoving past and breaking glass and pissing on the floors. It was an insurrection, so patriots must stand. Let's heed the call for justice and let leniency be damned. 'Cause freedom's just another word for all there is to lose. Let the sons of bitches rot in jail for what they tried to do. A violent mob of QAnon, Proud Boys and Boogaloos, just fascist thugs and racists, a band of angry fools. They were chanting words of treason, waving flags that bore the name of the lying lame Dick Loser, the one who stoked the flame. It was an insurrection, so patriots must stand. Let's heed the call for justice and let leniency be damned. 'Cause freedom's just another word for all there is to lose. Let the sons of bitches rot in jail for what they tried to do. So when you hear their cry for unity while questioning the facts, remember it's bad faith and lies that led them to attack. On that darkened day in history, let it not be forgot that a coup's a coup no matter who has planned the evil plot. It was an insurrection, so patriots must stand. Let's heed the call for justice and let leniency be damned. 'Cause freedom's just another word for all there is to lose. Let the sons of bitches rot in jail for what they tried to do. 'Cause freedom's just another word for all there is to lose. Let the sons of bitches rot in jail for what they tried to do. Hang the sons of bitches by the neck for what they tried to do. Cody and me, 3 verses and a chorus to say this. All right. So I might take a while for Pete to catch up with me, but I believe we are at our section, at our segment called Viewer Mail. Pete, can you get your finger on that button? I know I've got you running all over the map. Ta-da! So this has always been a fun segment. I've always enjoyed it very much. And we got quite a few letters in last week. We got a pretty good amount this week. This is from Jim here in Tallahassee. And he said, "Dear Grant, we have learned how it works. Plant judges, spread fear, accuse the press, blame others, use Jesus for profit, never tell the truth unless it helps you, threaten to sue, pay bribes when needed, predate if necessary. Thanks for writing those songs, Grant, that are not harmless." And he put quotes around the word harmless. Jimmy. And I got a poem, and it is a really good poem. I hope I can do it justice. This is from Nola, also here in Tallahassee, and she put in that this poem was inspired, and I love it when this happens. This poem was inspired by a movie called The Dig, which I have heard about. It's on Netflix, but which I have not seen. What we excavate and how we dig, 2 matters linking who we are and were, uncover what was never lost. In soil poor or rich, preserved memory shards, decaying in situ, of time unborn until the trowel hits solid proof, ringing in the song we need most to hear. Cuneiform, handprint, the hunt, or scrolls. Golden coins by passage forward. Paid up treasures, new fragments buried for ones we leave behind to find. Really nice poem, Nola. Really enjoyed that. Let's see here. This is one, it's an anonymous letter. It's odd. It's got the letterhead says, "The Grant Peeples Fan Club at 1 Left Neck Lane, Blue City, Georgia." the envelope said Atlanta. It says, Dear Grant, last March, every milestone event in my life was blown away by a global pandemic, and so many have experienced my sense of the passage of time has become diminished and somewhat warped. As much as we all have tried to create new markers with Zoom calls and outdoor bonfires and such, they really aren't the same as those big birthday bashes and festivals, the weddings, the funerals, nights out with friends, and basic serendipitous exposure to new people, ideas, and art. Clay tablets has been a much appreciated touchstone in a vast expanse of unscheduled time. As in, oh crap, another month just went by. The fact that you adapted so fast and came up with this idea is a testament to your artistic creativity. As to the content, let's just say that I have looked forward to all of it. I'm especially going to miss tweets from God because I still refuse to have a Twitter account. Oh, and vocabulary and Donna's birds. I totally get the concept of a year encapsulated for posterity while engaging fully in the present. But still, I'll be sorry to see the end of this series. Sincerely yours, an anonymous fan. P.S. Be good to my sister, or those Jewish lasers will be looking for you. Wonder who that was. Here's one from Matt Craig. He's also in Tallahassee. And he just said, Grant, in February, you will have Clay Tablets 12. Meant to be the final episode. Why not have a baker's dozen, Clay Tablets 13 in March? Mac. No, Mac. Well, just keep listening. We're going to get to that. And here's one from Christy. And Christy is down in St. Pete, and she said, Dear Grant, first of all, thank you for the January Clay Tablets. It was cathartic after the shit show coup attempt. Thank you, too, for your activism through your music, art, and poetry. Recording the struggles of these times into the modern Clay Tablets is more important than ever, which leads me to my question. Within the next generation, do you think we'll take 2 steps forward or 10 steps back, politically, culturally, and humanly? I hope this note finds you well. Take care, Christy. Christy, when I read your question, I thought about, I think it was in the late 1970s, and I was in with my dad and some other adults. I was an adult, but I was just in my early 20s. And at that time, inflation was rampant in the United States. We had this weird thing of like high inflation and high unemployment. And it was, and we had this thing, and what's going on with Iran, and it was a tough time. And somebody asked my dad, said, Jack, you think it's going to get any better? And he said, sure, it's going to get better. And then it's going to get worse. And then it's going to get better. And then it's going to get worse. And then it's going to get better. And that's kind of how I think it is. I think it's going to get better, and then I think it's going to get worse. And whether we actually move forward or not, whether we gain, I'm not really sure about that. But when I look at history, and I was a history major in school, I do see that we kind of gain. And we can make some big gains, but we can go back. But overall, I do think humanity is progressing, as hard as that might seem. And then I got this from Oz in Arizona, Tucson. And she wrote me, and this is a really good poem, and I have the cadence. It's a really special poem. Let me see if I can get it. COVID, you suck. You've ruined live music and hugs. You make my heart bleed. It makes me sad to cancel shows. Damn, where did I hide that 5-year-old weed? Grant sends me Clay Tablets. It stabs and soothes. Could this be the healing I need? He chides the Cheeto. At last, he's no more. He makes me laugh and makes me ponder. He talks history, quotes scripture, and asks, will Mother Earth make it to 2043? Sweet children and birds, Donna, Gurf, and Eliza, what's next for music? Oh, how I wonder. Next season surely will come, so write and create more as we wait for that day, where once again performing live cross-country tours and hugs will be okay. And also, get rid of your Florida governor, please. Oz and Tucson. I got this note from Michelle in Altoona, Florida. She's been a real supporter of the show. And she said, "Dear Grant, in my times of unrest and uncertainty, I have sought peace through meditation. But meditation has been like a Ouija board guided by my own hand and consciousness and bringing back ghosts of people in memories long past. I reflect on my own weakness and poor choices. My question for you is, what ghost have you conjured up in your meditation? Have they drifted by like leaves on a river or clouds in the sky? I think Carmen's eyes, that beautiful song you sing, and how the grief passes like tears of a storm, clearing the air. Best wishes on your final show. Your fangirl, Michelle." Well, Michelle, I'm a little reticent, to give meditation advice because I'm such an amateur. But I wrote a song one time called "Training in the Charnel Ground," which is really about my experience with meditation, and it really parallels yours. And the song I wrote it in third person. I'm singing about somebody, but anybody who knows me can see through the lines. And training in the charnel ground. A charnel ground is a cemetery, something like a cemetery that they have in Nepal and Tibet. And it is a place where they take the bodies, and instead of, it's freezing cold there, and you really can't dig in the ground. So what they do is they take the bodies and they take them out into the open on this big open range, and they put them out there to putrefy. And so training in what they do over there is they take these, or the story that Pema Chodron told, which was the inspiration for the song. She told this story about how they would take these young Buddhist monks who were like hanging out in the monastery, and they were like feeling pretty cocky about their meditation practice, how they could sit all day, and they were just like chilling out and doing it. And what they would do, as soon as they got good and cocky, they would take them out to the charnel ground. And they would sit them out there and they say, "Okay, sons of bitches, meditate here." And for me, that is kind of the story that you're asking about. And for what I know from what Pema says, is that what you have to learn to do is you have to learn to be able to accept all of that you have to be able to take it in. And there's an old Buddhist cone that says, pain doesn't cause suffering. It's resistance to pain that causes suffering. And so, if you're going to go out there, if we're going to be in the charnel ground, we have to accept the charnel ground just like we do the birds and the rivers that you like to paddle on. We have to accept all that. We have to embrace that too. And the bridge in my song says, it's like standing on a ledge outside an open window and leaning into space with nothing to hold on to. And so it takes courage to do that. And that's why to do what Pema says, you have to be a warrior. And so anyhow, good luck with your meditation practice. Thank you. All right, Pete, that's our last letter in the mailbag. I think we're going to check in with Donna again. Donna, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Uh-huh.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Show's going great. A lot of lively chatter over on the side.
Well, we had a little snafu, and I'm so glad, if you hadn't sent me that text, I was sitting here, my phone just started blinking, and I was like, what the hell does Donna want? And so I had missed out on a couple of things, but we looped back and picked them up, and if I hadn't said anything, nobody would have known the difference, I don't think.
Nobody would have known.
Yeah,
but
well.
I'm so glad I paid attention to my chat. I was trying to think what to do next. Call the neighbors and have them bang on the door.
Well, I'm glad you didn't have to do that. I understand that you have put together, and I have not seen this yet, but there was a thing that was done, I believe it was last week. It was, last week it was a thing called the bird count or the backyard bird count. And in homage to this, you wrote to all our tableteers and you have collected some bird pictures that are in the backyards of our viewers and our clay tableteers. And tell me a little about it. I mean, I think I've probably just stolen your words, but tell me about it, and then we're going to ask Pete if he'll play it.
I was so humbled. I mean, how many of you guys work for National Geographic? Some great photos. They took them. Our clay tableteers have all sent them in. Please forgive me if somehow, I think I gathered them all, and I got at least one from everybody that sent. Some people sent several. But they're all from their yards, including my favorite bird. It's not a great picture, but he's my favorite bird, so I had to put him in.
Cool. Well, Pete, will you roll that? Will you roll the bird video? Yes. Very nice. Thank you so much for that. I understand. I was notified as I came into the building tonight that you've worked up something else that's going to be played after we roll the credits tonight. And I just want you to tell me that you promise me that there is no pictures of me running in the marathon with my shirt off. You just have to, if you'll tell me that that's not in there, then I'm going to say okay to it. Otherwise, I am shutting that baby down.
I make no promises.
Oh, gosh.
I think that would be a real draw. If I say that might be on there, they're going to hang on.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of me running with my shirt off, and it is not a draw. All right. Well, thank you.
We do have a little surprise that Sneaky Pete and I put together behind Brent's back.
Yeah.
A little surprise for him for the live show, so stick around. It'll be after the credits roll. You'll see the credits, and then the surprise will happen.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Donna, I think. So.
Good night, all. Love you, and thanks for all your kind comments. They're talking about me a lot in the chat.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Thank you.
All
right.
All right. We'll talk to you in a little while. So one of the things when I was talking to Roland Stone, he was asking me, like about the history. And I think he didn't ask me if I had any regrets. And I don't have any regrets. But there is the only thing I really wish we had gotten to is I wish we had developed a segment that really got into logic and rhetoric and critical thinking and the dangers of allowing fallacies to run rampant in our national conversations and discourse. And so I wish we had done that, and we didn't. But if we had done it, if we had started it, I think it might look something like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Benjamin, and today I will be telling you about logic and logical fallacies. So first of all, what is logic? Logic is the art of argument used with the appropriate measures of relevance, presumption, and clarity. So what then are logical fallacies? Logical fallacies are arguments that do not have the appropriate measures of relevance, presumption, and clarity, and are therefore considered weak arguments.
Hi, my name is Miriam, and I'm going to give you examples for the 3 categories of logical fallacies. First, we're going to go over the fallacy of relevance, where someone says something that is irrelevant to the topic at hand. This example is from the first presidential debate, 2020, between Donald Trump and Joe Biden on the topic of coronavirus.
This is a fallacy of relevance, known as the tu quoque fallacy, which is Latin for you too, which is when one opponent throws the accusation of another opponent's argument back at them.
Guess what? A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So, Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me.
The next major requirement of logic is presumption. Now, a good example of a fallacy of presumption is the loaded question fallacy, which is a fallacy when the question of one argument is really hiding one or more other questions beneath it. Miriam, come clean this up. You can't just leave mess around all the time.
What am I, your slave? In this example, I am presuming that only slaves clean up after themselves, which is not true. The final key requirement in logic is clarity. An example of a fallacy of clarity is equivocation, where the argument fails because the key term is ambiguous. This can get you into a lot of trouble, like so.
Wait, who's the first baseman?
Yeah.
No, what's the fellow's name?
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who?
The man playing on first base.
Who is on first?
Oh, that's what I'm asking you. Who's on first?
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yeah.
Then go ahead and tell me.
That's it.
That's who?
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about logic and logical fallacies,
we suggest the book
The Art of Argument,
or the book The Fallacy Detective.
Was that clear?
That's irrelevant. Logic, logic,
So everybody wants to know who those kids are. They live across the street from me, and they are the children of the priest at the church next door to me, the Anglican church. And they go to a school called Christ Classical Academy here in Tallahassee. You should go to that church, go to their website and read their mission statement. What it says essentially is that what they want to teach children is they want children to have what comes out of their mouths make sense. That is the primary focus of that whole school. And a true Christian education is founded on the tenets of logic and reason and sound critical thinking, because what better highlights spiritual faith, which belief in the transcendent, the unknowable by any other means than faith, that which cannot be proven. Well, nothing would highlight that better than adherence to critical thinking in matters that can be proven. And that's what they do at that school, and that's the kind of kids that they churn out. So we're going to follow. So that would be what I would do with the segment. I would want to do that, try to delve into those kind of things and give examples. So I think we should go from that right into our tweets from God. I think it's a good little transition here as we're finishing up. By the way, while I was sitting here, I just got a tweet from God, and I'm doing this from memory. But he said, the tweet he sent out is, If your state motto is don't mess with blank, then you better look out. Okay, so I'm going to read some tweets from God here that came out since our last show. Justice is blind. Corruption can see. Advantage, corruption. Nearly everyone who accuses others of having a radical leftist agenda belongs to a religion founded by a man with a radical leftist agenda. Here's one came out on the 28th of January. It's almost as if the stock market was nothing but a crock of shit. Bad people are the worst, but good people are second worst. Here's one kind of relevant to today. If climate change is real, why is it snowing, he asked. If human intelligence is real, why are you talking, she replied. The universe would make more sense if you could see it in context. I'm never taking 4 years off my meds again. And here is one, hell is frozen over. Sorry, I meant the deep south. All right, those are our tweets from God. So this is the 12th and final episode of Clay Tablets with Grant Peeples. I'm announcing tonight that on Tuesday, March 16th, the first episode of Season 2 of Clay Tablets is going to air. And it's going to be hosted by Maddy Walsh in Ithaca, New York. And here's a few words from Maddy that we're going to play for you.
Hello, Tableteers. My name is Maddy Walsh. I am a singer-songwriter based in Ithaca, New York, and I'm very excited to be hosting Season 2 of Grant Peeples' Clay Tablets. I was very inspired by this format that Grant developed. There were a lot of artists and musicians toward the onset of the pandemic doing live stream concerts, which were great and were a wonderful way to connect, but this just seemed so much more all-encompassing and supportive of other artists showcasing their work, and a great way to connect. And artists are our culture shapers, so it was really wonderful to watch, and I am very honored to be taking over as the host of Season 2. I hope I can do it justice. Grant is a dear friend of mine, and we share a lot of the same political philosophies, so I hope you'll tune in. The first episode is next month, March 16th. We'll see you then. Take care, everybody.
Clay Tablets with Maddy Walsh will start next month. By the way, she was in my living room in front of the very painting that I was standing in front of when I did my first episode of Clay Tablets. I'm really excited about this, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I know that all the Clay Tableteers will be tuning in. Before we close tonight, I have some thank yous to make. I want to thank for the people who have been involved in this over the last 12 months with whom I could not have done this. First, Donna Maddy. And all of y'all have gotten to know and love Donna. Donna and I have been together since 2008. And when she attended the first concert I ever attended, and I look back over my career and I know that none of it would have happened without her help. And she is the most loyal friend you could ask for. And thank you so much, Donna, for all your help on this as being a co-producer. I want to thank my dad, who saw that first episode there in the living room in March of last year and called me the next day, and he said, I think this is really good, but we need to spend some money. What Dad knew is that if we were going to really be able to make it happen, we had to get out of my living room and quit shooting it on a telephone. And we went from me in my living room to shooting it on telephone to here in this studio. And my dad gave me the seed money to do that. Speaking of this studio is owned and operated by Pete Winter, who has been a friend of mine since the early 1980s when he used to play in a band in my restaurant down the street here. And you know, what Pete has given to this, there's no way we would have been able to pull off the. There you go. You can see that's where it all gets broadcast from right there, and that is Pete, who has a full-time job at Florida State University. He runs this studio. He's a caregiver for his mother-in-law, and he is also getting ready to start on a brand new movie. I can't tell you anything about it, but it's a big-time movie that they're shooting here in Tallahassee. He's a very busy guy, and he has given so much to this, and I'm so grateful. I want to thank Bob, who is our kind of our security guy, our computer guy, and he is. You'll see him. We give him a mention in the credits, and he is also helps. He helps me out with my computers. He helps me out. He's always involved in our rehearsals. He keeps an eye on everything. And if anybody were to ever get on there and start causing any trouble in the thread during one of these programs, he would get rid of you quick. And I want to thank Rita Jane, who is a real behind-the-scenes worker who is in charge of all the PayPal and the Venmo stuff and getting everybody the links to their show so they can see that. And then there are just some names of some tableteers, and I need to run through these pretty quick. We have had, I believe, almost 800 people have bought tickets to this show during the course, and these are just a few that I'm going to mention. I want to say thank you, and I'm just going to run down the list without any annotation, if that's okay. And this is not all about money, has nothing really to do with money. A lot of it has. Only these people will know why I'm singling them out. Joseph Lavelle, Randall Paulk, Ginger Honeycutt, Victoria Scarlett, Richard Smith, thank you. Janet Warwick, thank you. Eileen Stafford, Bill Peebles, Colin and Lou Hill, Terry Hudson, Dale Luckett, Danny Goodband, what a great name. Cliff Mansfield, Marilyn and Bill Duncan, Birmingham Steve, Robin Freiberger, Mandy Frick, David Holtz, Kelly Lane, Mike Poteet and Carol Poteet, John Jackson, Diana Ennis and Danny Powell, John and Beth Courtwright, Mary Catherine Long, Jim Carroll, Ann Nicholas and Richard Blumenthal, David Dowling, Gloria Holloway, John Townsend, Kim Sash and Pearson Hill, Melinda Hilsenbeck, Peggy Young, Richard Fazell, thank you. Also, Marty Donovan and Laura Slavin, Jane Falvey, Susan Lee, Linda K. Huffman, Alex and Jim Rose, Dana Rupp, Gene Farrell, Van Delisle, Jeff Jensen, and Becca, Jeannie Just, and Michelle Cotty. We're going to run a thing now I do know about this. We are going to run a thing at the end of another thing that's going to come after we roll the credits. Is we're going to run a list of everybody who has ever purchased a ticket to this show. There's only one exception. If you bought a ticket tonight and tonight was your first ticket, we weren't able to get you into that production. But you're on our Christmas card list. And I think that's it. I think that's season 1 of Clay Tablets. I'm going to play you one more song. We're going to be out of here. This is a song that was written by my friend Danny Schmidt, and I recorded it. I love this song, and this song has become something of an anthem in Texas. It gets sung around a lot of campfires out there. And I attached myself to this song, and I asked Danny if the structure of the song is very non-conventional. It has a section in it, a very large section in the song that I call the I Believe section, which is a list of things, and they're very symbolic of the things that Danny believes. And I asked him if I did the song, could I do the verses and then put my own I Believe section in there, and he said yes. And so I'm going to do the song. I can't really go on about how much I appreciate everybody, but I can sing. When I die, let them judge me by my company of friends. and let them know me by the footprints I have left here on this sand. Let them laugh at all the laughter, and let them cry at laughter's end. And when I die, let them judge me by my company of friends. And when I die, let them judge me by the things that I believe. Let them raise a glass to consciousness and not spill one drop for grief. And let the bubbles rise at midnight and let their hearts be light as thieves. And when I die, let them judge me by these things that I believe. Well, I believe in songs as weapons, and I believe in fighting fair, and I believe in hard-earned lessons. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in driving all night, and I believe in coffee black, and I believe in holding on tight. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in sleeping naked, and I believe in starting fires, and I believe some words are sacred. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in planting gardens, and I believe in pulling weeds, and I believe in slaying tyrants. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in intuition, and I believe in being wrong, and I believe in contradiction. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in living smitten, and I believe all hearts will mend. And I believe our book gets written by our company of friends. So when I die, let them judge me by my company of friends. Let them know me by the footprints that I've left here on your sand. And let them laugh at all the laughter, and let them cry till laughter's end. And when I die, let them judge me by my company of friends.
Sorry to say, but I missed all the Clay Tablet Show. Sorry, Grant. Addy, all the way from Zwolle, the Netherlands.
Grant, this is Amy from St. Petersburg. It's been an honor to host you in my home. You make us think and ponder, laugh, cry, and love. With peace, we thank you.
Play Tablets brought us joy and connection to the musical community during this time of isolation. A great big thank you to all of you. Ann and Rich from South Austin, Texas.
This is Barry Lynn. These shows of yours always contain three things: clever songs, great poems, fine guests, a trifecta of brilliance. By the way, I don't want you to think that I know the word trifecta because I spend a lot of time at racetracks. I just read a lot of Dick Francis novels. We'll see you down the road.
Ain't he sweet, ha ha, neat, ha ha, handsome and fair? He's a dim dandy, the girls all declare. He's a high rolling laddie as well. Thank you, Grant Peeples, clay tablets was swell.
Hi, Grant. This is Chelsea calling from DeLand, Florida. Thank you so much for leading the way with your words, with your efforts, for fighting the good fight so that poetry can uplift us and bring us all together. You're a gem.
Hey, Grant. This is Chris Green, Austin, Texas, Austin Acoustical Cafe. Well, we missed you last year, but I know we're going to see you in the future. Just wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed Clay Tablets. Keep it up. See you on down the road.
Yes, hello. This is Cliff in Denver, Colorado. Just wanted to call and leave a message for Grant and Donna and all the supporting technical staff and just everyone that contributed to the tablets this year. And Grant, I tell you what, I never thought I'd be chugling with you throughout a pandemic. So keep on chugling. Love you guys very much. Still looking for the bird in the backyard, and I don't know what I'm going to do without your vocabulary parrot. God bless.
You know, I've been a musician my entire life. When I was about 9 years old, I received what would end up being the most important gift I've ever received, which was a Yamaha acoustic guitar inscribed to Grant, Love Loretta Lynn, signed at the Grand Ole Opry. You personally and your music have been such a positive and profound influence on my life that I'm glad to have this opportunity to say I love you and everything you do. And again, if you don't know who this is, so love you, man. Keep up the good work, or just the work, even if it's not.
Hey, Grant. This is Cynthia. Just want to say thank you so much for getting us through this horrendous year and into something way better. It was always a pleasure, and I hope you do it some more. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Grant, this is your old pal Fred from Ripple Radio. I just want to say this was an amazing year of incredible shows. Everyone got better. You just blew me away each week, and I just want to say thank you.
Hi, Grant. It's Danny Goodband from Lakeside Music in Manhattan, Kansas. Clay Tablets was the absolutely best thing and certainly the most unique to come out of this stinking pandemic to remind us we're not alone. I think you're the best. I'm still struggling with that pink thing.
Hello, Grant. This is your friend Diana Ennis from the Heartland, thanking you so much for the Clay Tablet series. It's been a wonderful beacon of light in an otherwise very dark time. Tom Green would definitely approve. Love you.
Episcopalians are coming to get you.
Hey, Grant. This is Ezra with Trout Fishing in America. As touring musicians, we're pretty much in the same boat, deep in the doldrums. Adapting to performing via live streaming has required all of us to transform our way of reaching people with our music and ideas. Clay Tablets has been inspiring to watch. Your creativity and fire have translated well to the computer screen, and your vision is relevant and entertaining. That's a hard thing to do live and on stage. It's much harder when you're performing for a camera lens. Really look forward to your next project. Take care, brother.
Hi, Grant. This is Gloria Holloway. Now that you're retiring Clay Tablets, which, by the way, I very much enjoyed, Please come down to Tampa Town and do a concert in my backyard. And P.S., don't forget the mullet. Thanks.
Hey, Grant.
Hey, Grant. It's Gary.
And Goody.
And I just wanted to let you know that we love you and what you're doing with the clay tablets.
And you can keep on rocking that kilt, baby.
All right. Take care.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Hey, Grant. Woj here in Terlingua, Texas. Appreciate you, man. Be well.
Hey, Grant, it's Jane Falvey from cold, snowy Rhode Island. Just want to let you know how much I have thoroughly enjoyed each and every episode of Clay Tablets. Look forward to seeing you in June. Hope we can work something out. I think you're a true genius as a songwriter, as a poet, and just an all-around nice guy. Thank you.
Grant, you're the single best political lyricist in folk music today, man. And your poetry, well, that's even better. Thanks for the soul-sustaining inspiration. You're making the world a better place.
This is a message going to for Grant for the Clay Tablets show, Donna. It's Jeff Jensen calling. And I'll start you in 3, 2. Oh, Grant, you have made me laugh so many times on Clay Tablets, said Jeff Jensen of Gulfport, Florida. And that's it. Thanks, Donna. Bye.
Hi, Grant. This is Jenny, temporarily living in Oregon, and hope you're well. Thank you for the Tuesday night Clay Tablets. I've really enjoyed them, and I look forward to the day that we can see each other out on the road again. Take care. Happy 2021.
Grant, this is Jerome from the Jewish Laser Force Agency Command Center. Clay Tablets has been revelatory. It's only by participating and tuning in that I learned that you were in direct communication with God. It's really good to know because some people are getting the wrong messages and you seem to be getting the right ones. At any rate, we have noted this at the command center and will take appropriate action when necessary. Best to you, Grant, on your successful Clay Tablets adventure. Over and out.
Yeah, hey, this is Jesse calling from Ohio, formerly from Pennsylvania. I'd just like to say that I'd like to see a little bit more of Rhodey on the next show if we can. I enjoyed meeting him at the Will Fest, and I know that Will Fest is going to be canceled again this year, or is going to be canceled this year. But you know, it's been great seeing you, Grant, playing your music and telling your stories and reading your poetry. It's not quite as much fun as camping out and sitting by the fire and eating breakfast together and hanging out with friends. But it's the best we can do, I guess, during these strange times. But anyway, Teresa and I have both enjoyed the show, and thanks a lot for sharing your music and your poetry. See ya. Bye. How was that?
Hi, Grant. This is Beth and John from Naples, Florida.
We just want to tell you that we really enjoyed all of your Clay Tablets, and we miss seeing you around the county and hope to see you soon.
And, of course, always want to see you on the Paddle Florida trips. Thank you for keeping us sane during these crazy times.
Take care, Grant.
Grant, Clay Tablets was great. It helped us get through the past year. Hope to see you soon in St. Augustine, John and Megan.
Grant, Peeples. This is Julie Ray, sending you so much love, 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 and you are one of my favorite people.
Hi, Donna. This is Kathy McHugh from Audubon, New Jersey. I'm going to leave a message for Grant. Thank you for doing this and for making it so easy. Hi, Grant. This is Kathy McHugh from Audubon, New Jersey. Thank you for all your hard work with the Clay Tablets project. Thank you for introducing me to new words and new artists that I probably wouldn't have come across myself. And I look forward to seeing you again in person soon, I hope. Hopefully maybe at NERFA. Okay? Thank you. Bye.
Hey, Grant, Ken here. Thanks for these wonderfully unique and creative presentations and keeping our minds alert over these last 12 months. Congrats on the 26.2. Hell of an accomplishment. Welcome to the club. Can hardly wait to see you again, brother. Health and happiness to you, my friend. Gotta run.
Hi, my name is Kim Blackburn, and I'm calling to just tell Grant that I appreciate everything that he does to support the creative community. And I just admire his writing so much and want to be him when I grow up, and appreciate his show and his spirit. So, thanks.
Hey G, Lil Cal here. For me, Clay Tablets has provided a sense of community, a gathering of like minds for a common purpose, to share ideas, heartache, outrage, and humor, to weep and celebrate together. It has allowed us at times to laugh at ourselves and the current human condition when we needed it the most, to lighten the mood in these dark days past. Thank you, my friend. Please don't ever stop sharing you with us. God bless.
Hey, Grant, it's your cousin Linda Kay. I'm so proud of all you've done with Clay Tablets, and I thank you and your guests for giving me new ideas to explore each month, along with new songs and poems to love. Keep up the good work. Love you.
Hey, this message is for Grant people. This is Liz Miller sending some big love from Philadelphia. Bye.
Hey, Grant, Reese Shepard here, just calling to say how much I've been loving your show, Clay Tablets. Great, just the right amount of politics and humor and music and insight and plain old fun. I have so much enjoyed it, and I wish you the best in your next creative endeavors.
This is Matt Craig here in Tallahassee. Carry on, Grant. Still hoping you can do a Baker's Dozen and have a Clay Tablets 13.
Hey Grant, this is Maddy.
And Suave.
And we just want to say we've loved Clay Tablets. It's been such a great inspiration and form of connection, and I hope I do it justice as the host next season. We love you.
Love you.
Grant's got the edge for going when Clay Tablets ends.
This is Mandy from St. Pete. Thank you so much for a fantastic season and making your mark in history.
Hey there, Grant Peeples. It's Mary Sack. Congratulations on your first year of Clay Tablets. Your art has always challenged us in a larger way, making us think with both lobes of our brain. Your music, your poetry, your activism, it really is all one and the same, comforting the afflicted and disrupting the comfortable, as art should. It has been amazing to witness your Clay Tablets video series having emerged due to pandemic live performance constraints. Your inclusive, well-produced monthly presentations, they're fun, they're captivating, and they have kept me glued as to what will happen next. Thank you, Grant, for keeping your eye on humanity's prize and for keeping us focused on it, too. Best of luck with the future episodes.
Hey, Grant, this is Megan and Brian from St. Augustine, Florida. We've been 6 feet from our computer screens watching Clay Tablets, and we're ready to start a revolution. Thanks for your inspiration. Bye.
Hey, Grant, it's Melinda.
And Richard in St. Augustine.
We've been measuring out our lives in Clay Tablets installments during the time of Corona and are so grateful for your wit, wisdom, and music. Love you and can't wait to see you back in the ancient city.
Hey, Grant, it's Oz here, sitting in
Arizona. I wanted to give you a standing ovation for creating clay tablets. You did a great job. It's medicine I sure needed. I think all of us needed it. So keep up the good work, write more tunes, keep challenging yourself, and I'll see you in the future. Take care. Thanks again. Off.
Hey Grant, this is Peg Parham in Greensboro, North Carolina. Just wanted to say thanks so much for your show. It's been delightful and a nice help to get us all through this past horrible year. So good luck with everything. I'm going to miss the show.
So here's a voice text going out to Grant. Grant, I love everything you've been doing. This is Rick in Tallahassee, and but the run was especially most impressive. Take care.
Hello, Grant. This is Richard. I just wanted to tell you that one of your most loyal fans is going to miss you after Tuesday, February's clay tablets. I hope you come back with something else should this COVID thing go on much longer. Don't forget to get your shot. See you soon. Goodbye.
Hey, Grant, guess who this is? I want to tell you the clay tablet has absolutely been the highlight of my pandemic. And on the third Tuesday of every month, I am reminded of why I love you so freaking much.
Hi, Grant. Susie from Asheville. Sure do miss seeing you, especially on my wildlife camera. Love your clay tablets and hope to see you in person soon. Hugs.
Hey Grant, this is Teresa Jimenez. I wanted to tell you that you always make my day a little better when you pop into it, and I thank you for continuing to show up.
Hi Grant, it's Terry Hudson in Fort Worth. Just a quick message to say thank you for all that you do, and special thanks for clay tablets. It's been a wonderful way to spend some of our pandemic time, and good luck in all that you're doing. Thanks.
Hey, Grant. You brought me up from fan to merch girl to publicist to manager, fixer, booker, and now co-producer of a live online variety show. Of course, this is Donna. It's been great fun. A lot of hard work. I've learned a lot, and I can't wait to set sail for the next big adventure. A couple of people wanted me to read their written messages, so here's the first one from Martin. Grant has been like a brother to me since we met in second grade. Growing up in a David Jonathan Huck Finn friendship throughout the years, we have always agreed to disagree on things, knowing that there will be things of the heart, soul, and mind we will not always be aligned with, but the friendship has never wavered. I've always been there for him, and he for me. I was excited to support him when he began the Clay Tablet series, and sad to see it end, but Grant will always find a new door or window to open. I've always respected his wit, talents, and endless entrepreneurial mindset and hard work ethic. Our friendship has never been stifled by any preconditions, and as we continue to grow old together, we are and always will be David/Jonathan or Tom Sawyer/Huck Finn. Martin. This is from Betty in Land O'Lakes, Florida. I don't know how to do the audio messages, but have enjoyed all the clay tablets I was able to watch. Hugs to Grant.
When I die, let them judge me by my company of friends. Let them know me by the footprints that I've left here on the sand. Let them laugh at all the laughter, and let them cry at laughter's end. But when I die, let them judge me by my company of friends. When I die, let them toast to all the things that I believe. Let them raise a glass to consciousness and not spill one drop for grief. Let the bubbles rise at midnight and let their tongues be light as thieves. And when I die, let them toast to all these things that I believe. And I believe in songs as weapons. I believe in fighting fair. And I believe in hard-earned lessons. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in driving all night. And I believe in coffee black. And I believe in holding on tight. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in sleeping naked. And I believe in starting fires. And I believe some words, they're sacred. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in planting gardens. And I believe in pulling weeds. And I believe in slaying tyrants. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in intuition. And I believe in being wrong. And I believe in contradictions. In the end, I do believe. And I believe in living smitten. And I believe all hearts will mend. And I believe our book is written by our company of friends. When I die, let them judge me by my company of friends. And let them know me as the footprints I have left here on your sands. And let them laugh over all the laughter, and let them cry at laughter's end. But when I die, let them judge me by my company of friends. Thank you so much.